Taffy right here with a brand new speed build. Today we are building in the beautiful world of Sulani. I wanted to build a beach house, so I looked up some bungalow pictures and got a little bit of inspiration from a few different pictures. But mainly I pulled the color scheme for the exterior from the inspiration photos that I found, and it instantly gave me the name of this build, which this build is called Saltwater Taffy. I initially put it up on the gallery as Water Taffy Beach House. Because as a kid we used to just call Saltwater Taffy Water Taffy for short, and I legit started to think that that's what it was actually called. And then I realized after I put it up that I was like, that's a you thing, that's not like a real thing. So I had to rename the house, which worked out because I ended up realizing there was a few defects in the initial build that I put up on the gallery, that I ended up fixing the second time that I uploaded it with the correct name. I also just wanted to take a second to say that my husband is currently outside chopping wood. I'm not sure why we need wood in spring and it's gonna be summer soon, but that's what he's doing, and it's really loud. And I can't ask him to not do it because we all need to have things to do. He's not currently working and he's super flipping bored during this pandemic because my husband is a very active person. So let's just try and endure the random whacking sounds of an axe. So I do apologize if you can hear that. A lot of times I apologize for noises that end up not even showing up in the voiceover anyway. So how are you guys finding yourselves in these crazy times that we're currently living in? I feel like I'm sort of struggling, but at the same time I'm not, because obviously I like spending time indoors at home because I play a lot of The Sims and upload a decent amount of videos when I am uploading. So in a way I'm enjoying it, but at the same time I'm starting to get a little burnt out because I am fortunate that I am able to work from home during this whole thing. But it also means not having a lot of breaks when I am working. I don't have anywhere, sometimes I'll walk to a coffee shop, just take a quick break, or I'll walk around, the office to take a quick break, or go talk to someone, and that's really not an option right now. So I'm starting to feel really burnt out, especially because part of my job is to do customer support, and it's really difficult to troubleshoot technical issues with people who insist on doing it over the phone. So I'm just kind of struggling with that a little bit. But I am enjoying having a little bit more free time in terms of not having to drive 2 hours every day to get to and from work. So I get 2 hours of my day back. It's so nice. And I think I would like working from home remotely, full time, if again I was able to go out and break up the day, because I think I'd probably work at a coffee shop for a few hours or just do something different. But we don't have that option right now, obviously. But again, I'm very grateful to be able to work from home because I know there are so many people who are not able to work right now, and my heart goes out to you because I sort of know how frustrating it is because like I said, my husband's not working, and we do rely heavily on his income. We are definitely a 2-income family, but we're fine. We're making it work. Luckily, we are fortunate enough that we can ride this out for however long it's going to be, as long as it's realistic. I actually had shared on Twitter a few weeks ago that when this all first started to happen, I was a little concerned because we do have a rental property, and at the time we didn't know if our tenants were going to be able to afford to pay the rent because we rely on that to be able to pay the mortgage on our rental property. So we weren't sure if we were going to be able to afford paying for 2 mortgages if they weren't able to keep working, but so far it's working out. We received a rent check. I'm super grateful for that. I'm also very grateful that my boss has been very understanding and supportive throughout this whole crazy few weeks that we've been experiencing, she'll message us randomly and just be like, hey, it's a nice day outside, make sure you get outside, you know, mental health is very important. She literally just messaged me that today and said mental health is very important, and to make sure that we go out there and, you know, get our sunlight and enjoy some fresh air. Speaking of sunlight and fresh air, that is basically what inspired a lot of this build. Because Sulani is so beautiful, I wanted to make sure that you could see the view from anywhere in the house. So there are windows all the way around it, and this house is slightly cluttered, but it's not super personal. And the reason why I did it that way was because I was thinking that this was either a vacation home or a rental property, so you would come in and there would be some things for you in the house, but it's not very personal because you should be able to like see yourself in the space. Or it could be a nice family home, in which case you would add your own touches for your sim family. So that's kind of what I was thinking as I was building this. I wanted to include some clutter because I just think it brings your build to life, but I didn't want to make it so cluttered that it just felt like it was for a certain type of sim, because sometimes I feel that way when I like download people's builds, and a lot of times I'll just go and remove like a lot of their furnishing. And I wish The Sims 4 worked the way it did in The Sims 3, where like it kept the kitchen and the bathroom and that kind of stuff. I think I've mentioned this before, but I just think it would be so much easier if you like could download an unfurnished build that had like your kitchen and your bathrooms still there, because I mean, legally where I live, you can't sell a property if it doesn't have like running water, bathroom, working kitchen, because it's not a livable residence. So that's I don't know. I just take things too literally, I think. But yeah, that's what I was thinking as I was building this. And I also love the bathroom in the footage, which I don't do because I feel like they're redundant. But like I said, I really tried to make this like cluttered, so I did keep that in there because this is probably one of the nicest bathrooms that I've ever created. Not to give myself a pat on the shoulder, but I guess I am. But here we are putting in the flooring, and I did the same flooring throughout. I tend to do this in pretty much all of my builds because, again, the realistic like thought in my head is that like typically you're going to use the same materials throughout your build. Like if you build a new house, you're typically using the same materials throughout, with a few differences in some rooms because it's cheaper to buy things in bulk. I think too literally. I'm sorry if that's weird. But yeah, that's like why we have the same like general color in the hallway as well as the downstairs, and the same flooring throughout. I just feel like it's consistent, and that's typically what you would do if you were building a new home. Does anyone else build that way, or have weird things that they think about as they're building that like maybe you're not even thinking about it, but when you stop to think about it, you're like, that's kind of weird. Does anyone else think the same way that I do? I don't know. I guess I'm just such a weirdo. But I really struggled to pick a carpet for this hallway. I think I actually struggled picking a carpet for like every room in this house. I don't understand why this is always difficult for me, but I could never find rugs and things that I like. But I realized that I am still using so much yellow in my builds. Like, I don't even really like the color yellow in real life, but it's just always using like yellows in my builds. It's weird. So here we are working on one of the bedrooms. So it is 2 Sims can sleep in there, single beds. Again, because I was thinking it might be a beach rental, it's not super personal, and the dresser isn't very big because it's like temporary because you're just, you know, there for a week or two. And I really wasn't sure what to put in here, so I just kept it very generic and plain. And here we are trying to find a carpet. The struggle is real. I really I probably spent a good half hour picking out carpets throughout this whole build. That's so sad. Like, this is sped up 450% faster, but it's just like, I don't know. But we ended up using this carpet from, I believe it's from City Living. And I felt like it tied all of the colors together. I I also really struggled to figure out what color I was gonna paint these walls. I really wanted to use the same orange that was on those on the bedspread for that little bump out there, but we have really ugly orange swatches in game. Like, they are terrible. They're ugly. Orange shouldn't even be like a filter because they're so bad. I don't even remember what color I ended up picking. Is it gonna be this light blue? Probably. It might have been, I think that was the color we started with. But that's that room, and now we're going into the master bedroom. So there is an upstairs bathroom that is shared by both rooms. And for this room in particular, I used a lot of island living. I guess technically I did in the other room as well. But I struggled with the color swatches because of the mirror that I end up picking. So the color swatch for the furniture does not match the color swatch for the bed. Because I really wanted to use the Jungle Adventure mirror and it just wasn't matching. I couldn't find something that matched that really bright, rich wood tone that the bed is and that this dresser is. So I end up making them all a darker color except for the bed because I wanted that bedspread. I was watching someone's build today and they were talking about how frustrated they are with building in The Sims because it's just so limited and like nothing matches. And I definitely think that is something that all of us feel. It's just so limiting. And I really don't want to rant about The Sims because I've done that in so many other videos, but I always find it interesting when I hear other people saying the same thing. It kind of validates my feelings for me. But I think that this room turned out pretty nicely. Oh, also, did you see that glitch? I've been having that a lot lately, where if I put something on a surface, the surface disappears, but it's actually still in my build. It's weird. So I've just been using the like undo button until it shows back up. But yeah, it's so weird when it does that. I've had that happen in a couple builds and I just like exited out of the game. But here we are working on the kitchen, and the downstairs is open concept. It's like a small downstairs, but it's huge at the same time. The kitchen is like a decent size. It's not small, but it's not big either, if that makes sense. It's like a medium-sized kitchen. But I really, really loved the light wood tone with this bright like wall. I just felt like it looked so nice. And now I'm thinking about it, like usually I would put backsplash, but I just left it all the same color. And I just think it looks really nice. So here we are starting to put it in the cabinets, and then we're gonna go into some clutter. But I actually kind of really like this house. I feel like I'm just sitting here tooting my own horn. But I do. I feel like it's nice and bright and open. I like the idea of the fans, and I can just like imagine it would just be like so cool, like opening the windows and having the fans on and having that cross like breeze happening in the room. Like I just feel like it would be such a serene experience. I also wanted to do an island build because I am dying to go to the beach, and it just doesn't look like that's gonna happen because we have a vacation planned for early June, and with the state of the world, it just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. And in the grand scheme of things, it's a really small thing to be upset about. I'm not devastated, but it is disappointing because I haven't been on an actual vacation in like 4 or 5 years at this point. The last sort of vacation I had was my actual wedding, which I catered myself. I did everything myself, so I didn't consider that a vacation. So yeah, I just decided that I was gonna build in Sulani and play in Sulani, and that's gonna have to be my vacation this year. But again, I really like the way that this house turned out. I used a lot of my tried and true items, but I also like branched out and tried some new things, so I'm kind of glad about that. And I put that little like basket with the blankets and stuff throughout because I felt like, you know, it's a beach house, you would want to make sure that you have clean towels like everywhere so you could just grab them and go. So I had it in like the bathroom, I had it by the door, and just like a little touch that I felt like really made it feel like a beach house because, you know, you just want to be able to grab your towel and go out and enjoy the day and not even have to think about it. And that's also why the office area is so small, because I feel like you really wouldn't be indoors very much other than the necessities of like living, like getting food, sleeping, and stuff like that. So I just felt like you wouldn't need to dedicate like a huge dedicated office space, because you really wouldn't be using the office equipment very often. But I wanted to put it in case you wanted to actually live in this house, so that way you could do any career stuff that you needed to do. And it took me forever to find those island living prints, the underwater prints. I looked for them forever at the beginning of this and couldn't find them. And then I randomly went into like, I think it was the pictures or something like that. And there they were. I had been looking for them about an hour before this point in the build. I am really terrible at finding things in the debug catalog. Like I've said this before, I don't know how other simmers do it, and they seem to do it so effortlessly, but I can never find what I want. So this is a 2-bathroom, 2-bedroom home. The downstairs has a half bath and the full bath is upstairs. I always find it very helpful to have a half bath in a build, especially if it's 2 stories. Because it's super annoying when your Sims have to fight for for the toilet. So that's kind of why I put that in there. And I felt like it was a nice separator for the living room and the like kitchen dining area. So it kind of worked out with the floor plan there. And I used this round table, which I really love the round tables, and I don't use them nearly enough. So I'm glad that I was able to fit that into this build. And this living room, oh man, this living room took me a hot minute. You're about to see the struggle. I really wanted a 3-seater sofa, and I just couldn't figure out how to fit it in this space. It was just so awkward because I also want to put in a TV, and it just wasn't working for me. We get there eventually, but it takes a hot minute. Also, finding a carpet was a little difficult because I feel like not all of the island living swatches go together. Shocker. But I quickly realized that coffee table is way too large, so we're gonna switch that out for the smaller one that came with island living. And here is about where the final placement of the sofa is going to be. So it's definitely an interesting placement of these items, but I feel like it works. I just realized that I didn't give any actual information about how to download this house if you're actually interested in it. You can find it under my EA ID, which is BRaySunny. I have all of my usernames consistent across platforms, so if you want to check me out on Twitter, you can also find me under that handle. So there is a direct download link down in the description. I always include that in every single one of my speed builds, so any information you want to know about the build is going to be down in the description. I feel like I've been doing this voiceover for like ever, which makes me wonder if maybe my speed builds are too long. So if you feel like this is way too long of a speed build for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, please let me know down in the comments. The last thing that I want to do is make a ridiculously long video that no one wants to watch. And if you do feel like this is too long of a video for this build, let me know what you think would be an appropriate duration. Way back, I did a poll on Twitter asking whether people like when the floor planning and the exterior is left in the speed build, and everyone pretty much said that they like seeing it, the process of coming up with a floor plan and that kind of stuff. So that's why my builds tend to be about 15 to like 25 minutes long, which does feel a little long to me. So I'm just curious if anyone feels like it's too much content put in a video, or if it's like just right or whatever. I just want to make sure that I'm making content that's enjoyable and isn't too taxing to watch. But basically what's left with this build is putting in functional items for outside and tweaking the exterior to just make it look a little bit more beachy and inviting. So play around with a couple of ideas here, and it takes me a little bit to figure out what's going to be the finished product. Initially, I wanted to put in a little dock that would surround that canoe, but there just wasn't enough space to do that. So it took me a little bit to figure out how I wanted to use the back of this house. And I struggled a lot with putting these floaties in the ocean. I don't know like if I'm just special or if this is like something that like everyone struggles with, but I feel like every time I build something that has a raised foundation and try to put these like water activities in, they never go down the way that I want them to. And it's really annoying, and it takes a ridiculous amount of time to get those items to actually like place, and you can't just like put them on dry land. So you have to like sit there and fight with the build, which I find really frustrating. But here we are putting in a little seating area and the grill fire pit thingy. I love that item because you can just place it, you can like set it and forget it. You have your sim cook food and they can walk away, and I love that feature. It's so convenient. I feel like that's a good item to use for like a 100 baby challenge, that and the cauldron, because it makes like a lot of food and you can walk away at least from that island living grill pit thingy. But I decided that I wanted to put in an outdoor shower because it just seems like a logical thing to have at a beach house. So I initially was going to use this partition, and then I was like, nah, I feel like you probably need a little bit more privacy than that. So we end up putting in this outdoor shower that has like a little like walk-in. So there's no door, but you still have privacy. So your Sims should not get embarrassed when they use that. Also, I did play test this house and everything was functional, because I was concerned because I put a like shower caddy wall decoration in the shower and I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it is a functional shower, so we're all good there. And here we're just putting in the last finishing touches to the exterior because I put in that thermostat. I wanted to have like an AC unit because I would think that Sulani is really hot, so it just seems logical to have you know, a roof AC unit. And just putting in the last few items inside. I really did try to add a couple different skill building items and activities so that it wasn't super boring. Oh, I forgot I put in that massage table. We're just gonna finish this build up with a little bit of landscaping. I didn't put in a whole bunch because one, there's not that much real estate that's actual land, and two, if you place it on this lot, which is in like the town section of Sulani, and it's the lot that has the empty like bungalow, there's so much landscaping around this lot that I feel like you don't even really need to put that much in your build because you just have such a beautiful view from like every angle. But I did put in a little bit of stuff that was from Island Living, just to kind of give it a little bit of a cute touch. I do need to make sure that I say that make sure you have move objects on activated in your game, because this build will not look nice if you don't do that. But we are about to go into the screenshot, so I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a big fat thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!